This program is a paid commercial announcement and in no way represents the views of WPHT or its management.
Now on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor.
If we don't move in our own direction, we're going to become extinct. In fact, in some cases, we're close to being extinct right now.
Presented by Weinerman Pain and Wellness. Serious doctors for serious injuries. And powered by the law offices of Pond, Lehocky, Stern, Giordano. Talk, listen, and speak to the region's most influential leaders. It's Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor.
On a Saturday night in the Delaware Valley, oh my, what an unbelievable week it's been in the city of Philadelphia. Welcome in, everybody, to Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, along with J. Doc in the studio. I'm Joe Krause as we come to you live on a Saturday night from down in 4th and Market, and we encourage and urge all those listening tonight on the road to be safe, J-Doc, because as the weather comes in, it will be challenging making your way around the Delaware Valley tonight.
Absolutely, Joe. What an unbelievable week in Philadelphia. We need the break almost. It was such an incredible week. Eagles Super Bowl champions. Shout outs. And to anybody who went to the parade saw what a spectacle it was. I was talking to Dan Loney, 700,000 people. I doubt it. Try 4 times that amount. What an amazing thing to be a part of. And I want to give shout outs to our union brothers and sisters and our city leaders, everybody across Philadelphia. And I'm going to start up with our number one union members at this time, the Philadelphia Eagles members of the NFL Players Association. Congratulations. And then IATC, Joe. Man, let me tell you, they put that parade, they put the whole thing together and took it down in like 3 days. Philadelphia building trades, city workers, and our political leaders and officials, first responders, Philadelphia Police and Fire Department, Mayor Jim Kenney and Governor Tom Wolf. What a great job by everybody.
All right, all good stuff, and we will continue throughout this next hour to send out some accolades on what was a terrific week. Right now, breaking news from this week, and we want to bring in Sam Pond to join us as we're going to get an understanding about SB 936, breaking news from Senate Bill 936, which occurred this week, didn't make the front page of the Inquirer or the Daily News, but Sam Pond joining us now here on the hotline, right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Sam, I welcome you in, and we bring you on because what you're about to tell us has a direct impact on everyone that goes to work in the Delaware Valley.
Yeah, good evening, Joe. Good evening to your wonderful audience. Well, we have look, nothing's going to compare to what happened last Sunday and this week in our great city and the celebrations that we continue to have. A little celebration that we had this week was that we beat the first attempt to have this piece of workers' comp legislation passed. It was a tie, so the insurance industry and big business lost against civil justice and the working men and women and organized labor. Organized labor, as always, came in heavy to oppose this bill that would take away basically the medical care for injured workers. If they lose the medical care, they don't have a life. They don't have a chance. They can't get back. Think about it. Just going to work and having your medical care not there when you get injured on work, not able to get better. Your whole family is freaked out. Your life is ruined. This is what we're talking about, and this is what's happening.
And Sam, when you say that, to actually kind of to put it in other words, imagine going to work and not being really insured. I mean, that would, in a sense, be what it would be like, because the workers' comp carriers would be controlling the medical, and at that point, they're already at close to an 80% clip of turning everybody down. Am I correct?
Joe, you know what? I couldn't say it better. It basically is going to not having any insurance when you get injured, seriously injured. I mean, we see people every day that their lives are ruined, their careers are over, seriously injured and not having insurance. You're absolutely correct. That's what this bill is about. It's the same bill that came out in June in House Bill 18 under the guise and under the horrible neon horrible sign of saying this is something to deal with opioids. It has nothing to do with opioids. But think about that. This is how despicable, this is how committed the insurance industry is for profits on the backs of working men and women when they get into a job. It's just unimaginable, but it's happening. But we all have to wake up. Just like the Eagles and their fight to get together, we have to continue to keep our coalition together of the medical community, the trial bar, and organized labor and committed consumer groups to stop this. They are relentless. They are relentless. They have Brady at the helm. The Eagles showed they could beat it. We've beat it twice. We beat it in June of 16. We beat it in June of 17. And we got to continue to fight. But I'm a little worried, Joe. Mm-hmm. I'm a little worried about the level of complacency. There doesn't seem to be a lot of voices out there, fighting back like we fought back in June. And everybody's got to get it, get back in the saddle, put the pads on, and let's go.
Sam Pond joining us here on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor as we come to you on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Sam, I almost think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I almost feel as though it's time to start the education process at its most basic fundamental in terms of understanding what it means and understanding what this bill means. This bill would be devastating to anyone that goes to work. Yet, as you said, and I don't understand it, why there's not more of a groundswell opposing it.
Well, Joe, we talked about this. We've talked about this a lot off the air about the public relations. And I was around town last night just talking to some people about it, and I was literally going up to just the kind of the man on the street, and I was talking to one woman and her father, who's probably in his late 50s, worked as a chef, got injured, and she was to the point where she was of the mindset that anyone that brings a claim is somehow a fraud, even though her father got, run over by the insurance company in his own claim after working 35 years.
Right.
So we have if you can imagine this, we have this mindset that the insurance company and people that file claims are somehow not frauds. I'm going to tell you, as an officer of the court, this is not hype. This is the truth. Insurance companies commit fraud each and every day, just on our clients, not everyone else's clients, but everybody. Our clients, I haven't had one client charged with fraud. They're simply going to work. They get injured. And now, as Joe said, they don't have any insurance to pay for their medical. And by the way, if that's not going to be paid and they're catastrophic, someone's going to have to pick it up. And guess who's going to pick it up? Not the responsible insurance company who charged the employer the premium, but the citizens of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That's who's going to pick it up. Or the health and welfare fund of a union that's funded by their members. They're not supposed to be paying for it. The insurance company is. There's no public policy for this. None. We have got to get back to good government. We have got to have politicians start to do their jobs as to what's best for the system and not what's best for their political careers.
Sam, let me ask you a question. Do you think, because I know in organized labor we're constantly getting attacked. You and I have talked about it on the air and off the air dozens of times with legislation like right to work and paycheck protection, what we call deception, on a constant basis. And what happens is, and what always is my biggest fear, and it sounds like it's it's the same for you specifically in this type of area, where people. We get done one fight. We're barely coming up for air, and the right is already hitting us with new legislation. I always tell listeners, and I always tell our union members, listen. It should be part of your job to continue to fight, because this is a relentless group on the right, and it's corporate greed at its worst. Do you feel like it's the same type of situation where, like you said, House Bill 1800 2 years ago, House Bill 18 last year. Now we're looking at Senate Bill 936. Shouldn't people understand that there's people out there that are going to attack us, and they're going to be relentless, and we got to be just as relentless right back?
Yeah, and I think that the people really have to educate. And I think both, Joe, as you just said it, and Joe, what's really motivating here, because there's really no reason for this legislation. Insurance companies are making profits hand over fist in the Commonwealth. They've been doing that since 1996 when we had the changes in 96 and 93. The Chamber of Commerce has no business even having this issue come up. Because the Chamber of Commerce, the businesses are running great in our Commonwealth. Workers' comp has nothing to do with it at all with the bottom line. So what's the motivation? The motivation is to gut organized labor, the access to civil justice, and basically get rid of the middle class. They don't want to have the working person or anyone else but the top 5% to have a voice. None. So if they take away organized labor, one of the pillars of the middle class, the only real pillar left in the trial lawyers is the second, but they're the two pillars. And they know the far right. The other side knows if they devastate them, if they decimate them, if they take them down, there's nothing that's going to stop them from running roughshod with products, with no workers' rights, nothing to protect the middle class, nothing. And no decent wage, no decent pension, no decent life, no decent hope. No, really, the American dream will be taken away from 95% of Americans. Joe, you guys are my contemporaries. We grew up knowing that we had the American dream. We had that hope. We knew it. We could do it. We worked hard. We had a shot. It was there because our folks had a good collective bargaining. They had health care through the union. They had health care through the state that they worked for. They did have Social Security there to back them up. If something, God forbid, happened, they didn't get kicked to the curb. They got taken care of. The medical bills were picked up. Before the social programs that we have, and these programs that are there, are to help the victims and the disabled when they have a tough day. These things are being taken away. But there's a plan. There's a strategy.
And that's what I was going to ask you, Sam. What's the status right now, and what is our strategy to fight this?
Our strategy is always defensive, regrettably, because we need more people to get motivated and not be apathetic. There has to be a call to arms. There has to be a call to arms. We need a Doug Peterson calling big-time plays and then executing on them. Not ideas, but really where the rubber meets the road. We have some of the greatest labor leaders in the country, in this city. Whether you're talking about John Doherty, whether you're talking about Joe Ashdale, Brian Boyer, Wayne Miller, I can go on and on.
Pat Eiding.
Mikey Barnes, Pat Eiding. How many? I mean, we can just go on and on. Committed. I mean, they've committed their life to this. But you know what? They need help. They need everyone to get behind them and listen to them and support them. And we need more of that. We just need more of it. We have to fight back. We can't erode. We can't play defense. We just got to get on the other side of the 50 and start attacking and get some rights back.
Now, Sam, before you go, because I know you're busy, tell us, our listeners, what they can do to voice their opinion to their political leaders and say no.
Everybody that's listening to this show, you have got to send an email, which will take you literally less than 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Call my office, but find out who your state representative is. Find out who your state senator, but most importantly, your state rep, because this will come up for reconsideration in the next 5 weeks. You've got to call them. You've got to email them, and you've got to tell them to vote against this, to vote no on the reconsideration for Senate Bill 936. It's that important.
Sam Pond joining us tonight with breaking news here on a Saturday night on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor. And, of course, Sam, our full support and the platform of Talk Radio 1210 to saturate the market with the message needed as we prepare and brace for that. On a Saturday night as we end this week here in the Delaware Valley. Oh, what a great week it was to be a Philadelphian in the city, Sam. Well done. Thanks for the work, my friend, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Always appreciate the support and hard work of you guys in the labor program. It's a difference maker. Keep up the good work, and thanks.
Thank you, Sam.
All right, good stuff from Sam Pond here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Again, Senate Bill 936, getting all of the details from the top workers' compensation attorney, Sam Pond, joining us here tonight. J-Doc will continue to remind our listeners tonight and every week that we proceed forward about defeating Senate Bill 936. The ramifications are serious. The attempt to amend the original Workers' Compensation Act is far outreaching, and I think far more than most of us, me included, even understand.
Well, the thing is, it's relentless. You're talking about, attacks from the right that working people go through all the time, and working people are busy in their daily lives. going to work, doing, raising their families. And before you know it, a House bill or a Senate bill 936 comes up and knocks half their injured workers' benefits that they think are there. They don't even. It's like going out on a tightrope and thinking you got a net under you and you don't have it. And it's just relentless. But as working people, we got to stand up for ourselves.
It's Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, presented by Weinerman Pain and Wellness. Serious doctors for serious injuries. We're powered by Lehocky. We're fueled by the Sonesta Hotel, and we're driven by Chapman Ford, where President's Day sales savings are happening all month long. Up on the boulevard, go see our good friend Jimmy Stevenson. If you go to work every day, go see Jim Stevenson. He'll take good care of you up at Chapman Ford. We're going to come back after our first commercial break, J-Doc, and tell all of our listeners and follow up and begin the dialogue on Philly at Work. It's our jobs initiative here on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor. Back in a moment.
Prior to today, there was very little comprehensive focus on employment opportunities for our most vulnerable. Now, thanks to Philadelphia Works, we can bring these stakeholders together around a singular goal, finding work experiences for young people.
Back here live on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Special thanks to Sam Pond for checking in and kicking off the big show today with all that conversation about Senate Bill 936. J-Doc, obviously very, very important. We'll use the power of this radio station and our forum here on a Saturday night to continue to talk about it. Don't forget, coming up at 8 o'clock tonight, Dan Loney will be here. He'll take you into the night. He's got the answer. How many people lined up for the parade? Dan Loney will bring you the exact details and all of the analytics, as well as some great conversation. Dan Loney taking you into the night from 8 to 11 o'clock. J-Doc, you heard Mayor Kenny in an audio bite coming out of our commercial break leading into a segment, and I played that specific audio bite from Mayor Kenny just as a lead-in for us 3 weeks ago right here on Talk Radio 1210 in the studio. We talked about Philly at Work and our small business initiative in partnership with Saturday Night Live and PhillyLabor. That is now getting ready to depart. That's getting ready to spread the wings of what we set. The foundation has been set, and we're going to begin that process. We're going to start it tonight with a follow-up and then go from there.
Listen, the first two shows of every month are going to be dedicated to our jobs initiative. And on today's show, we're going to have Mike Ferraro of Bridging the Gap, who does a phenomenal job. He's going to join us every month, but he'll be on at the top of the middle of the hour. He does a great job with veterans and getting them jobs.
Well, tell the listeners small business. Tell the listeners what it means. What small business initiative, Philly at Work. What does that mean? Define it for everyone.
Listen, it means creating an initiative that provides opportunities out there for those individuals that are seeking jobs in the Philadelphia region. It also means, targeting the veterans that have, given their lives to defending our country, and when they come back, they deserve opportunities. It means targeting second chance opportunities for those individuals that are coming back into society so that they don't repeat the same mistakes.
Is this a fair statement, J-Doc? It also, Philly at Work, a small business initiative, also means, you tell me if this is accurate or not, it also means keeping small businesses healthy in the city of Philadelphia.
Exactly.
Yes?
So 60 to 70% of all jobs are provided by small businesses. Okay, and as a labor movement, like Pat Odding says, we don't only care about those individuals that work under a collective bargaining agreement, which means for a union. We care about, everybody getting a job. And in order to do that, we have to keep our small businesses healthy. And so as part of our jobs initiative, we're also going to have a small business initiative, which means creating opportunities for small businesses so they stay healthy, so they can continue to grow and provide our workers with jobs. And that's really what it's about. You can't have one without the other, and that is a really important point. So let me talk about the small jobs.
And some of those details, J-Doc, when you get right down to it, when you peel back the onion, for lack of a better expression, when you peel it back and you start to zero in on small businesses being healthy, There's the question of resources.
Right.
There's the understanding about what it means, about how potential employees are screened, for example, how they're reviewed, from a human resources
exactly.
aspect.
So when you talk about our small our jobs initiative, there's a small business initiative within it. We just met with council.
What does that mean?
Well, like you just said, the small businesses that are participating in our jobs initiative, they're going to get opportunities at resources. Like you said, some of these small businesses don't have a built-in HR department, don't have a marketing department like a major corporation. We're going to provide them with resources that allow them to do that. We met with Councilman David O this week as part of the Philly Jobs Initiative. Like I said, we're going to have a major small business initiative.
What was Councilman David O's? How did that conversation go? I know when we launched or we started this, the dialogue for this program 3 weeks ago right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, David actually called in, Councilman David O called in to kick off the announcement of the program.
Exactly. So what we're going to do as we've initially launched is, so you see we got Mike Ferraro and the Veterans Jobs situation. We're going to have HR department people come in. But with Councilman David O, we're going to organize the Small Business Association leaders. We're going to utilize our radio platform here on 1210 Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor as we expand into the labor force. We're going to put together small business forums. We're going to bring the heads of the small business associations in to talk about their issues, to see how we can help them, so that they can be heard. We're going to put together roundtables with small business owners, with employers, so they get the opportunity to, voice their issues, and also create an atmosphere of growth. One of the things we're going to do is something called Business Match. One of the things I think is so incredibly important is to encourage business to business. So businesses that can help one another grow. And we're going to do that hugely on this radio program. We're going to do it when we get to our job fairs and our small business expos. That's you can't expect small businesses in the small business community, who, by the way, have been hit with some, pretty intense legislation and sometimes feel crippled. You can't expect them to participate in your program unless you can help them grow. Go ahead.
And we're going to spoon feed it to the Delaware Valley, starting with tonight. Mike Ferraro from Bridging the Gap will join us coming up after our second commercial break. Gary Rich from Rich Success Academy will be on with Mike Ferraro. We'll have the two on when we come back after the commercial break. And then from Prudential, Maria Morales will join us after our third break of the hour, leading us into the close of the show. And all three will start to set the table for us. And as you said, J-Doc, before we go to break, I'll give you 30 seconds to just kind of, again, reinforce the support from the city of Philadelphia. Councilman David O has pledged his support behind the program.
Listen, we're launching this program for our businesses, so that it's part of our jobs community. Councilman David O is totally on board. Obviously, we're hoping to get all the city officials on board, including the mayor's office, because we need our small businesses to grow if we're going to have a jobs initiative. And so in other words, one hand washes the other in a positive growth sense, and we can't wait to do it.
All right, all good stuff. Again, talk about Philly at Work, a small business initiative. We'll get started with that when we come back after the commercial break. Do you know what Senate Bill 936 is? If you don't, look it up. And stay tuned to this radio program every week as we continue to push that message along. Back in a moment. Back here live on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on a Saturday night in Philadelphia, the end of what was a spectacular week in the Delaware Valley, J-Doc, and oh my, there was so much good buzz around the city of Philadelphia. The hotels were sold out, and just a huge shout out, if we can, to the Philadelphia building trades who went to work and got that stage and got those 14 large screens put up, and everybody went to work when it all started, and it was just a great week in the Delaware Valley.
Oh my God, Well, certainly one of the great weeks in the history of our lives. Certainly, the parade was beyond belief. And by the way, when Dan Loney comes up after, at 8:00, I'd like to say I agree with Dan Loney in regards to what his thoughts are on the number of people who showed up at that parade. So we're happy to have Mike Ferraro on of Bridging the Gap. Mike, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me, Joe?
Absolutely. Great to have you, pal. You were telling me when I spoke to you earlier today that you had a great event yesterday. Tell me a little bit about that event.
Oh, absolutely. We had our Top Gun career transition program at the joint base at McGuire-Dix Lakehurst, and we had 20 military candidates come out and spouses, and we had about 12 employers come out, and they did speed interviewing and learning career tactics and how to find a job. And of that, we know we got several that have many interviews next week, second interviews, to get job employment. And we're so happy that our employers, our sponsors are supporting this. And it's really, in the last 2 years, it's really taken off.
I mean, that's exciting. And certainly, you're our co-host on our job shows. And certainly we're ecstatic when we hear that and looking forward to all the many episodes that we offer opportunities to our veterans. Is Gary Rich, is he on the line?
Yeah, hi, Joe. I'm here.
Great to have you, Gary.
Thank you.
Certainly, Mike Ferraro introduced us to yourself. And tell us, the business you own is Rich Success Academy. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've developed a program that I call, it's a foundational program. Oftentimes, everybody wants people to do certain programs, but people don't know who they really are. So we have a program called the KEM Advantage. Know yourself, express yourself, and market yourself. The Know Yourself piece is a self-assessment that you do where it never really asks you what you want to do, but these are work samples that identify a person's natural abilities. What's really interesting, Joe, is that your natural abilities mature around the age of 14, and they stay with you throughout your entire life. So we have a great assessment program that I'm working with Mike on so that everyone, whether they're transitioning out of the Army or transitioning in life, when they do this assessment, based on their results, we also have a career supplement that is right on. Mike has done this assessment. We've had multiple people do this. As a matter of fact, the assessment's been around for 90 years. We're just taking a different approach to it.
Mike Ferraro is on the line with us, along with Gary Rich, just so the listening audience can understand who is with us. Mike is the representing Bridging the Gap. He's our co-host in this initiative that we've just launched. And then Gary Rich is joining us. Rich Success Academy are part of this segment. Guys, we're trying to figure out, or this initiative, the reason for the launch, the reason for the initiative is to support what you do and to reach others who don't know how to do it. And that is secure opportunity or secure jobs. Where do the obstacles come from? Sometimes it's so obvious that we don't see it.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Joe. One of the things that we try to do with our program is help someone become self-confident, to become self-aware. And once they do that and they feel really good about themselves, it's going to make their relationship or with other people. The other thing, too, I just wanted to mention is we have our Express Yourself, which is a way that we teach people to speak one-on-one, and then networking, the marketing side. Nobody puts together a strategy on networking. What is it that you want to do? And we take them through that whole process along with Mike and his team to figure out, you got to have a strategy, right? People go to basketball camps, baseball camps, and why do they go there? To get better at what they do. We don't do that as a culture. We just tell somebody, hey, go to college. But we can help them understand, we don't have all the answers, but we can put them in the right direction.
Is it hard, Gary, sometimes for the individual who's trying to either secure employment or get the interview or get the second interview? Is it hard for them to understand that or to grasp that? It seems so simple, yet it probably is very difficult.
Well, some people are very comfortable in that one-to-one situation, and it's like anything, Joe. I think you become more comfortable the more that you do it. But if they can come out knowing a little bit more about themselves, they'll feel better. So when they're sitting across the table, that person on the other side is going to say, wow, this guy feels really good about what he does. On Mike's side, when you do an interview, you teach people about what they should know about the company so that when they go in, they're prepared to do that. That's very important. Plus, if you're going for a job that you're passionate about and you understand that you have the abilities to do that, which is what we bring to the table, it's really an amazing thing. There's no problem. Just, life is a journey.
And Gary, that's how I was going to go to direct to Mike. I was just Mike, how do you and Gary work together in trying to achieve your directives?
So one of the things that the Top Gun Career Transition Program does for vets is we created this theme called a strategy called IGNITE. So IGNITE is an acronym, and it begins with the letter I, of course, and I stands for Identify Your Natural Skills and Abilities. And with that, we use various assessments and tools and techniques on how to do that. And Gary's program really would work very, very well, not only for the veteran community, but for other organizations as well. But it really helps them identify who they are and also career linkage to, opportunities that are out there that they could hopefully get into a career for. So that's how we work together, hand in glove, because a lot of the veterans are coming out. They're really not sure what they want to do, and this helps give them some kind of direction.
Let's talk about some of the experiences that you both have had in regards to, a veteran. For example, when they first get out, say they're a combat veteran, they've been, obviously overseas for, a long time. Now they're trying to re-enter back into the workforce. What's that experience typically like for them?
So entering back into the workforce, a lot of times they're just not sure what they feel that their military experience, their MOS, their military occupation specialty, what they did in the military will create or translate well into the civilian world because they're not sure. But more and more, the employers are opening up their doors to say we want that core value of that integrity first, that service before self, and being on time and being above and beyond when they go to do something, mission first. So they're looking for that, but from the technical side of the house, they're just not sure sometimes. And working with people like Gary to help identify their natural skills that can translate over is very important, and so it does help reduce a lot of risk and some uncertainty.
Mike Ferraro joining us along with Gary Rich in the middle of a conversation. It's our Jobs Initiative, part of the launch of the program. We're in show number 2. Again, as J-Doc said when we in the last segment, we have full support of the city of Philadelphia and Councilman David O. as we get this program rolling. Michael, from the other side, and then, Gary, you can follow up if you want after Michael answers the question. I'm curious to your perspective as well. From the other side, meaning from the employer side, is there challenge from that side? Is there times when the employer doesn't understand the makeup of a veteran and that puts the veteran in a position where they do not get employed?
Oh, we see it all the time, Joe. It's amazing. A lot of hiring managers don't know the value of the veteran or what a military veteran can bring to their company. Sometimes they don't know how to interview a military person in transition because they see somebody with an impeccable resume, and sometimes they don't understand the acronyms, as an example. But I think one of the challenges the employers are having is if they can interview a military vet in a way which they can ask behavioral questions that would help uncover some achievements and so forth that they did maybe on the battlefield or in peacetime or back in the squadron, as an example, and showcase those in a way which would come over in the business side or in some kind of technology, then that hiring manager would be able then to really make a better decision on that person. But a lot of times they don't understand the value of what they bring because they don't understand what the cultural side of the house of a veteran. But it's getting better to a degree, and companies are embracing more military as we see all over on TV and so forth. and so there is a positive movement.
Gary, you say what?
Yeah, the work environment today, one of the things that we do with our assessment is we identify the work environment that's going to be most conducive to that person. For example, there's one part of it called, we have a time frame orientation. Most people have never even heard of that before. Some people are very transactional in the way that they think about things. You know, a stockbroker likes to transact quick deals. Someone who wants to do, let's say, a longer-term project. If you take those people and put them into the right slots, because this assessment was developed to put the right person in the right place, if you switch them, they're going to be at a disadvantage. They're going to go into a job and they're going to say, "Oh my God, this is not going to work for me." So we need to also make sure that we're talking to the employers. So it goes both ways. It's the employer as well as the potential employee. So that's a part of the culture that we have not really done over a long time. As I said before, we just literally tell people, go to college, go into the military. And if I might just mention something, oftentimes these young men go into the military at 18 with no idea of what they want to do. This is perfect for them because they come out after 5 years. My son was in the Army. He had a master's degree. And even when he came out, they tell you that people want to hire you, but you got to have those skills. And that's really where Mike and I have made a pact that we will help these guys and ladies find these opportunities.
Gary, before you go, can you tell our listeners your website address and how they would contact you?
Sure. The website is www.richsuccessacademy.com. And if you go to the site, there's an area where I'm happy to have a 15-minute conversation, 30-minute conversation to talk to you in a little more in depth about the program. And we really look forward because we want everybody to be competitive. We want them to be successful. We want everyone to be successful. That's our goal.
Well, Gary, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And Joe, you want to transition us into the next segment?
I'm going to get us into a commercial break. J-Doc, thank you very much. What is the Chem Advantage? Know yourself, express yourself, market yourself. Special thanks to Gary Rich. Mike Ferraro will stay on the line. When we come back, Maria Morales will join us as well for our final segment here on Talk Radio 1210. WPHT. Back here live on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor on Talk Radio 1210. WPHT, Mike Ferraro, Bridging the Gap, joining us here on our Philly at Work Jobs Initiative show, along with J-Doc in the studio. I'm Joe Kraus again. Special thanks to Gary Rich, who joined us in that last segment. The rapid fire, I know it's a lot of information to consume. We'll do our best to at least spoon feed the listening audience, and that includes me and J-Doc as well, to try and get as much information out as we can. Maria Morales is going to join us. We're going to bring her in. Maria is a human resources professional with Prudential of Greater Philadelphia, and she joins us here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, along with Mike Ferraro and J-Doc. Maria, a good Saturday evening to you. We welcome you into the show.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for having me. Hello, everyone.
Well, it's great to have you, Maria, and I'm looking over your bio, and words like energetic, tenacious, leader, team builder, a mentor. Tell us what you do and what Prudential does for veterans coming back into the workforce.
Okay, great question. So a couple different things for myself, just me having my transition from the military. What I put out there on my LinkedIn profile for everyone to see is just something to let everybody know the dedication and what I'm bringing to any organization that I'm a part of. So in Prudential right now, what I actually am doing is I took a step away from human resources and was brought into an operations department to assist the team to move past or elevate them from low morale and work performance issues. So it's been definitely a challenge, but a very welcome challenge that I took on, and I'm very excited about the progress we've made. And working for an organization like Prudential has been a phenomenal experience for me.
I'm sorry, go
ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say one of the things you've done is you assisted in the military service members with their transition from military to the private sector workforce. Tell us what that's like on both sides.
Okay, So yes, it is definitely interesting to be on both sides of the fence of that. So for me, having that experience more recently back in 2015 doing that transition, definitely I can relate to the challenges that the veterans are facing now and the service members are facing in navigating once they leave the military. On the outside of it, what I've done is, for example, is I was teaching a Department of Labor workshop where I assisted the service members with that transition, which is kind of a precursor to the Bridging the Gap event. So I was teaching those workshops to service members. But on the other side of it, being in the Prudential side, has been as rewarding as well because I partner with our Veteran Initiatives Department, which is dedicated and solely focused on the veteran population and how we can recruit that great talent into our organization, and not just recruit them, but mentor them and develop them and provide them resources so that they are here for the longevity and they are able to showcase everything that they bring to the organization, all the value they bring. So I've been able to be a part of that. I've participated in different types of programs that Prudential has been doing. So I'll give you an example of one. The Corporate Fellowship Program was recently instituted here at the Joint Base, McGuire-Dix Lakehurst. It began in August of last year, and Prudential is definitely leading the way on that. There are other companies that partner with that, but it's a fellowship program that enables us to recruit some of our service members into the program, and it basically gives the companies and the individuals who are applying for the program and participating in the program, it gives everybody an opportunity to almost like have a test run of working together. So it's a really great program that generally results, I don't have statistics for you, but it generally results in job offers being made. So it's a really great program.
Maria Morales joining us here on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor. Mike Ferraro, let me bring you into the conversation. Just a couple of minutes left before we reach the top of the hour, and unfortunately must say goodbye. But I want to get you to bridge the gap. I want you to explain to the listening audience what it means to have an asset like Prudential, like a Maria Morales.
Oh, it's amazing. They're one of our sponsors for Bridging the Gap for veterans, and they lead from the front. When Maria and I met, it was synergy right from the beginning. She and the team really get it, and one, because they work from the military, but also they have their CEO is bought into this from the top down. So they're leading from the front and doing things that other companies should want to take a look at. As an example, they help sponsor some of the USO service centers, especially the one in Newark, New Jersey, help stand that up, and a Pathfinder program that the USO does for financial planning. That's just one example of some great things that a company can do. But on the other side is they're hiring military, active duty, guard, reserve, spouses. They're leading in a way which other companies need to step up on as well.
Before we go, real quick, contact information for anybody interested in applying for a job, with Prudential through the programs.
Yes, that is. Anybody can go to. I'm sorry, I'm looking it up right here.
That's okay.
It's jobs.prudential.com/veterans. Anybody who wants to look at some of the opportunities that are available for them, that's definitely the way to go, so that way the Veteran Initiatives Department can actually look at any applications that come in via that route.
Maria Morales joining us here. And Maria, certainly your time with us on Talk Radio 1210 tonight does not do you justice for the work that you do and will continue to do. And we hope to have you invited and join us right here in the studio along with Mike Ferraro from Bridging the Gap. Michael, real quick, as you mentioned the USO, just a reminder to you and to Maria, on Friday of this week, 1210, Talk Radio 1210, will be doing a full radio-thon to benefit the USO. All of that on Friday. The radio station will be on location. I'll send you those details so you can participate, or so you can come out and shake some hands if you would like to do that. Maria, thank you so much for taking time on a Saturday night. Michael, great job by you as always. Our continued commitment to you to use this radio program to help deliver some success.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you both to everybody as well.
All right, all good stuff. That's Mike Ferraro, bridgingthegap.vet. Maria Morales from Prudential. Sorry that we couldn't keep Maria on much longer, Jay.
I'll tell you what, though, she gave some great information.
Yeah, great information. We'll have Maria certainly back and invite her to come into the studio and be part of it. It's Philly at Work, our jobs initiative, just getting started here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. What a fast hour we had tonight, ending what has been a very, very busy and an incredible week right here in the city of Philadelphia. Again, special thanks to Sam Pond, who kicked us off with breaking news on SB 936. As we say goodnight and we prepare you for Dan Loney.
This program is a paid commercial announcement and in no way represents the views of WPHT or its management.